Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for another DC review, and in this DC review I'll be covering The Dawn of DC Titans by Tom Taylor and Nightwing once again, also by Tom Taylor. I'll now get things organised for the first issue that I'll be covering. Okay, so for the first one that I'll be covering will be Titans issue 2 by Tom Taylor. And moving into first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? In some essence it does. But overall, yes, it does cover something that happens with Wally West. But the overall rating for the cover, and I don't really like the cover that much because whoever did this cover really needs to clean it up a bit. I mean, it really needs to be cleaned up a bit. It could probably be made a little bit brighter, and it could really look a little bit clearer too. I understand that the characters are sort of like looking in the face. What, are you saying that they don't have lights on Titan's Tower? Which is now in Bloodhaven, and Heartless is killing everybody. Yeah. So for the cover, I give it a 6 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the internal art, to which we'll have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end. And also what's happening story-wise. So as the story begins, we get a bit of a flashback as to when the Titans ended up taking out Brother Blood, and they also get the help of the Justice League. And we finally move into the present. As we start to jump towards the present, the Titans are sent to Borneo to put out a big, huge fire, but there looks to be something a little bit more maybe mistier in relation to how this fire occurred. It looks like maybe an asteroid or something may have actually struck the turf, causing the fire. So, and it's created quite a bit of a crater too. And I think that's something else as well that could have been given more detail in the story. Like, sure, we can see it in the art, but there's also no evidence of the actual asteroid being there, and there should actually be some evidence of maybe this asteroid that caused this particular fire. So in that, it is losing points, not so much in the art, but the story. And as we move towards the end of the story, we get the return of Garth, who is Tempest, and of course the Titans' reaction to seeing him work with Brother Eternity, who is Brother Blood, who has renamed himself, and basically still holding the same type of operations, but doing something more in regards to, it looks more reputation. So for the internal art, I give it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the story. So first things first, did we get anything in relation to time? We had then, now, and later being used for time, but we didn't get anything sort of like covering exact time when events were taking place, which might not hurt, because if you were to say maybe cover the Titans arrive at maybe 8:30 a.m. in Borneo, that's something that might actually help improve. And this is where I think the Young Justice, which is connected to the animated series, does a really good job of that. And I think if Tom Taylor were to go about this in a better way with the story, he might be better off with that approach than this approach, because it would show where things are happening and at what time they're happening, and it would also include sort of like you could also use those time frames, and even Mariko Tamaki did it in her run, where she included time around the Arkham Tower event, and in it, it also lays down clues that might have happened at certain times, but also certain characters. So the next area is location. We had Bloodhaven, the Titan's Tower, and of course Borneo, which was visited. The key cast of characters were, well, all the Titans, consisting of Nightwing, Beast Boy, Raven, Cyborg, Starfire, Donna Troy, Wally West Flash, Oracle. We also had Brother Blood, who is now Brother Eternity, and last but not least, Tempest. For the overall story rating in this, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move to Nightwing. So, as we move into Nightwing issue 105, first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that's happening inside with the story? Sure enough it does, to which I give the cover an 8 out of 10. And yes, I think this is probably a bit of a high one, especially for Tom Taylor, concerning this run. Because in this, we see it like all through Nightwing's eyes, and you pretty much see it all throughout the book. And I enjoy the approach. It's actually not the first time that they've done this in DC Comics, but this is probably a first time in a long time that they've returned to it. So, good job in this approach. Now it's time to move into the internal art as we look around the beginning, middle, and end, and also what's happening story-wise. So, as the story begins, we meet up with Dick Grayson waking up in the morning next to Babs, or Barbara Gordon, who is both Batgirl and Oracle. I think one thing else I should point out in this, I think DC needs to make a hard line decision as to make Barbara Gordon either Batgirl or Oracle. She can't be two at once. Either that, or you get a new Joker, or you get the Joker. Instead of shooting her once in the back, how about bloody multiple times? So she's permanently disabled. And therefore she permanently stays as Oracle, and someone else can take the role of Batgirl. That's my only criticism. As we go a little bit further into the story, we have Dick Grayson, Nightwing, chasing after some suspects. And I'll now move towards the end of the story. And as we move towards the end of the story, we get the return of Heartless, but in his, or basically out of his costume. And of course in this we have Nightwing now meeting practically who would be the new mayor of the city. And we get an indication of what comics. And it is good to see the comic references there. They are important. So for the internal art, I give it an 8 out of 10, as I really enjoyed it this time around with Bruno Redondo. He really brought out a big perspective, as well as with we, the audience, seeing things through Nightwing's eyes and some of the things that he experienced. Very well done. Moving into the area of the story. So first things first is the area of comic references, considering how long this series has been running. So we end up getting comic references to Nightwing issue 78, 99, the Nightwing 2022 annual. The next area is time, which now and later were both used. The key location being Bloodhaven. The cast of characters consisting of Nightwing, Oracle, aka Batgirl, aka Babs, or Barbara Gordon. We had Bitewing. We had Single and Double Dare, Melinda Zuko, and maybe they might kill off that character, and that might be the reason why Heartless is here. Of course, Lyle Shelton, who is also Heartless, and it was nice to see that character return again. So, for the overall story rating, I give this a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a big improvement from some of the previous issues, and it's nice to finally catch up with the character known as Heartless, and at least we know where he is right now and what he's doing. Hopefully the next issue will pick up again. We might, and hopefully we'll get to see Heartless return, and finally him to be captured. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.